Hey, everybody. There's no one in the chat room yet or in the live yet, but just as I like to do, for anyone not watching live, thanks for joining. Usually, when I do this, I just like to chat, answer some questions, and just have some good dialogue. So, probably going to do this maybe an hour. So, hope you stick around and hopefully, maybe if you have some questions for me that you didn't get to join this live, maybe some people will ask those exact questions as we go. So, people are starting to fill in, and hopefully we'll have some good chat here. Hey guys, welcome in. New Jersey, you getting any snow? I know my family and friends back in Illinois are getting a bunch of snow, I think. Oh, all right, Australia. I don't think you guys are getting any snow there. Although it is, oh no, it's your summer there. It's your summer in Australia, that's right. Had to think about what our loops do, or what our sun does as a loop. Mr. Simple Lyrics, that's awesome. I love that you're writing about our beautiful firmament. That's great. What part of Chicago are you from? I grew up in Lake Forest, which is, I'm sure, maybe you're familiar with it. It's like 40 minutes north of Chicago, the northern burbs. Hey guys, welcome in everybody. And like I was saying before people started to come in, I've usually when I do these, I just feel like chatting. So I come on, answer questions. I usually don't have anything specific I want to talk about. So feel free to ask questions, guys. Personal questions. I'm an open book. Content questions, flat Earth questions, fallen angel questions, Nephilim questions. Anything you guys have ever wanted to pick my brain on, I'm here for it. Northern snowy Michigan. I am a huge fan of Traverse City, one of my favorite cities in this stationary flat realm we live in. Is Mike Tyson also Joe Egan? You know what? I actually, one of my subscribers on Facebook posted something or sent me something showing a side by side of 50 Cent and Mike Tyson. And I've always thought 50 Cent had like just looked familiar. And man, there's a chance. There's a chance. So I don't know about the guy you're talking about because I don't know who that is. I can't picture them. Corey Feldman's always been in the club, my friend. Any person you've ever known on TV or in the music industry, if you know them because they're famous, they're in the club. You don't get in the club unless, or you don't get on TV, you don't get well known, you don't rub elbows with the rest of Hollywood and music industry and the government unless you're part of the club. And what I'm really figuring out more and more and more week by week, day by day, month by month is I used to think that these people would join the club, sell their souls or do whatever, but I think it's rare that these people aren't just being recycled. I mean, if you guys were in my Facebook subscriber area every day, probably 5 people are being exposed and we are finding their former selves. And like, not a lot of speculation. A lot of people are doing a great job finding birthmarks and things like that. I mean, 20s actors, 30s actors, or maybe not 20s, but like finding people from like Nazis, from the war. These people are all recycled over and over again. And I do think some are new, like some people do newly join the club. And part of me is starting to think that's like the people that fake their deaths. It's like they have to fake their mortal death to them become immortal vampires or fallen angel minions, whatever they are, because I don't claim to always know exactly what's going on, but I do claim to know that this person is this person. I think I am proving that over and over again. How they do it, I couldn't tell you 100%, whether it is literally spiritual, whether it's blood, whether it's med beds and frequencies and technology. I don't know. But I know it's happening. I know that. I know that for sure. Britney Spears. I did a video on Britney Spears. It is on YouTube. I probably did it like a month ago. It's titled "Oops, I Did It Again," and I'm not going to be able to think. She's literally all the and this is great. Like all the crazy conspiracy stuff about Britney Spears, been locked up in her parents' house and her eyes glitching and stuff. It's because Britney has made the transition to someone else. She's now. I'm not going to think of her name, but I can tell you what actress role she plays. She plays in one of the Avengers movies, Captain America. Like, Captain America has like this woman from like when he was, back in the 40s or 50s or whenever he was alive that he loves. And then later on in the Avengers movies, like he meets her niece, I think. And it's that girl. That girl is literally Britney Spears. So, like, look up Captain America's love interest's niece. That's Britney Spears. Or just go watch my video on it. I did it a month again. It's titled "Oops, I Did It Again." And I got all the birthmarks, everything, and it's her. It's her for sure. So that's what I just started to realize maybe the past month or two is they don't always fake their death to transition into a new role. Sometimes they just have, like, I really figured this out when I was doing the Mick Jagger and Keith Richards thing, is that, like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are technically still alive, but the original vampires or fallen angels, whatever they are that played them, have aged reduced, and they are now Machine Gun Kelly and Youngblood. So there's someone new that filled in as Mick Jagger, and you can see that he looks different. His nose is different, his eyes different, his face didn't line up. So they do this now where they will. I don't think these vampires or fallen angels, they don't like to get old or pretend to be old. Like, I don't know if it's literally, if they're shapeshifters and they just have to like shapeshift into oldness. I don't know if they're doing prosthetics, or I don't know if they can literally let themselves age without staying on top of the abrenobrome or the frequencies, or, like I said, I don't know how they do it. I just know they're doing it, and they're doing it without even faking deaths a lot. Like Britney Spears didn't fake her death, but she is in a new role for sure. Putin looks like George Washington. Putin's one of those guys where I've had like so many people say he looks like this person. Just the other day, someone was telling me, a friend, Courtney, actually was showing me how he looks just like a statue, and I can't remember, it's like an ancient Greek statue, and I can't remember who it was, but maybe, no, it wasn't Nero. Nero was Trump. Yeah, I'm a big believer that we're living in the little season. It just makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. Like, one of the things, and for people not familiar, and I think a lot of people are familiar with it now, but in the Bible, in Revelation, it talks about, Revelation 20, verse 7, it talks about after the millennial reign, Satan is released from the bottomless pit to deceive the nations for a while. And to me, if Satan's released, so are all the rest of his minions that came down here with him. And that's what's going on right now. They've been released. They have a job to do to deceive all of us. And I honestly think, it's God's letting it happen. It's in the Bible. God's giving them a little season to deceive us. And I just said in one of my recent videos, maybe it's just a big old test for us. Maybe it's a test for us to see if they create as much evil as possible and see if we participate or if we go the other way. Maybe it's literally an angelic test for us. Like, maybe it's how we earn our angel wings in Halo. I don't claim to know, but I do fully believe we're in Satan's little season. I do think they call it the Dark Ages because it was actually the Light Ages when Jesus was ruling for 1,000 years. And people always say there would be signs we would know. Well, there are a lot of signs. They've been hidden from us. Spiro, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the appreciation, my friend. Thank you so much. There is nothing, it's a line I used to always use with my students and my athletes especially, is I never asked for much, actually never really anything in return, didn't even want to thank you, but when they would express appreciation, I just always appreciated the appreciation. It's just something I've said for a long time. I appreciate the appreciation, and I do. Do I think Trump's son is the Antichrist? I don't, because I think the Antichrist already passed. I think that happened. I think he was probably Nero Caesar, and I think that happened. I think, the Antichrist came and then was thrown into the lake of fire, and then Jesus had the millennial reign. I think they're going to fake a new Antichrist. And I think Trump is literally Lucifer. I've proven that Trump was Elvis, proven that. Now, can I prove that he's Lucifer? I can't prove it, but I think I've gotten pretty I think I've done everything I can except prove it 100%. Hey, Paula. Paula, my good friend Paula. Was Paul McCartney replaced? Yeah, actually, I was just watching, someone did a great video the other day, and I don't scroll much at all because I'm usually just busy doing my own work, but I watched a video that, I think almost all of them were played by multiple characters. Like John Lennon is clearly multiple people. Like it's clear that like the first John Lennon wasn't the John Lennon that was supposedly, assassinated, who wasn't assassinated, but and I do think the more I think about it and the more I'm realizing things and the more I realize that they stick them in the acting roles to play their old selves. Two revelations that I've had this week that I haven't posted on yet, but people in my Facebook subscriber area have helped me see it. And just watching that random John Lennon video, I think that John Lennon was played by two different people. And I think one became Steve Jobs. And I think eventually one became Ashton Kutcher. And then Ashton Kutcher played Steve Jobs. And and this was hard for me because I am so sure that Jim Morrison became Rush Limbaugh. Dead sure of that. But someone kept telling me in my Facebook area or posting in it that Val Kilmer, like spot on, Val Kilmer played Jim Morrison. And they do that. They have the person fake their death and then play that person. Like J-Lo played Selena, and J-Lo was Selena. Sammy Davis Jr. became Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle played Sammy Davis Jr. Like, this is a thing they do to mock us. And what I think I realized is that Jim Morrison was played by two different people as well, because I did some facial stuff, facial symmetry things, and Jim Morrison wasn't lining up with Jim Morrison. And, like, I'm so good at the facial recognition. And like when I'm used to seeing Jim Morrison's face and knowing it's Jim Morrison, that's one thing. But when you opened your mind to like, okay, I'm going to look at one Jim Morrison versus another, and then it became clear they were two different people. So I think one Jim Morrison became Rush and another Jim Morrison became Val Kilmer. And then like the more I opened my mind to it, the more I saw it. And I found some like stomach markings, and I haven't gotten too deep into researching that one yet. That's funny, the Jim Morrison Chevy Chase thing. I've seen other people say that, but there's never been a moment of facial like click with me on that. But maybe I'll have to explore that more, because you're not, David, you're not the first person I've ever heard say that. And maybe I was closed off to it too, because like Jim Morrison has this 1, 2, 3 like perfect dot. And you guys can look up my Jim Morrison Rush Limbaugh video on YouTube. I think it pops up, but like the exact 1, 2, 3 little pyramid mark right here, and Rush Limbaugh and him, it's like identical. And it's such an obscure, perfect one that I was like, there's no way Rush isn't Jim. So I was probably closed off to any Chevy Chase ideas and to Val Kilmer ideas, but I've learned to not be closed off to anything, because anything is possible now. Like now that I know that they can literally live forever and not height doesn't matter. Somehow they can get shorter and taller. People are always like, well, this person's this tall and this is, it doesn't matter. I think they have to be shapeshifters. And I don't say that like I don't know it. I know they are. It's just hard to wrap your brain around sometimes. I've seen Jim Carrey shapeshift. I've seen Elvis shapeshift, like his eyes totally change. Jim Carrey's head moves like it shouldn't move, and it's not AI, it's not CGI, it's shapeshifting. Yeah, good old Larry Hagman, aka Tom Brady, he sure does get around. That's maybe the one most obvious one I've ever done where like Tom even dresses like him nonstop. He like wears the coats and the glasses. they don't hide it there at all. He didn't. I don't even think he had any facial stuff done. Fartree, my friend, thank you. I always appreciate you being on here and your contribution. Anything come to mind about the Nephilim Clowns channel, Understanding Conspiracy with Paul? Oh, man. So I don't like bad-mouthing people. I don't. But I shouldn't say I like. I'm okay exposing people because I don't like liars. And someone asked me about Crow 777 the other day, and I don't think I said anything bad about him. I just said I don't know if I trust him because I think from my perspective, he was buddies with David Weiss. He had been on Sam Tripoli, he had been on all these Masonic podcasts, and but I don't think I said anything bad. I just said I didn't trust him. But guys, I don't trust hardly anybody in the content creation world. I think people befriended me when I first woke up and started posting things and was starting to grow. And I thought it was just friendly people wanting to reach out and like help me. And it wasn't. It was people trying to kind of like worm their way in, and whether they wanted to be my handlers or whatnot. But the longer I do this, the more I see that I am one of the very, very few people with a large following that has no associations, no ties. I'm not in any secret societies. It's me and me alone, other than a lot of my Facebook subscribers that are amazing, and I communicate with them, and they're on fire in there. But like I don't know Paul, but I know who Paul associates with, and it's JT follows JC. It's all these Masonic podcasts, and these guys will tell a lot of truth. They will tell a lot of truth, but that's what they all do. That's what Alex Jones does. That's what Joe Rogan does. All these, like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, that's what all of these Masons do, is they give you a lot of truth so they can make sure when there's a big Charlie Kirk incident that you have their trust, that they have your trust, and then they can spew a bunch of nonsense like Candace Owens does, and people buy into it because she earned people's trust by talking about flat earth and talking about nonsense science. So what I'm getting at is anyone you ask me about, I don't trust. Like it's just how I become, and like I'm not a not trusting person in real life, but I don't trust people online. Other than Paula I trust. There's a handful of subscribers and people that have just been so supportive and awesome. But as far as big content creators, man, I question them all. Did I make a video about what happened to Charlie Kirk? What is there? Oh, I was like the first on the scene, beach lover, and I'm a beach lover myself. Thank you for the kind donation. Yeah, I was like the first one to even mention holographic technology. Like I was on it because I had been doing holographic tech. I had been exposing that for a year with NASA rockets. I'd been exposing it with Oprah. When Oprah fell, she was a hologram. There was a video I did with Tupac. Tupac was supposed to be a hologram after he died, but he was with Snoop Dogg. It was supposed to be real Snoop and Tupac hologram, but it was bad Tupac hologram in my opinion and good Snoop hologram, and I exposed that, and so I was just like on the hologram scene. So I do think the first video I did on the hologram Charlie Kirk stuff maybe got taken down, but I had like 8 videos around September 10th, 11th, 12th throughout that whole time. That's all I did for like a week because I was just on it and saw so quickly through it because I've been exposing fake deaths for 2 years. So when this huge fake death just like landed in front of me, I was like, I need to just expose this as much as possible. So yeah, Charlie Kirk, he's a character like all these people. Like Prince wasn't a real person. Prince was a character played by David Blaine and Cat Williams, and they just killed off the character of Prince. That's what they did with Charlie Kirk. They killed off the character. It's a character assassination. Nobody died. No real blood was spilled. It's all It's all fake nonsense. I will say this, any content creator, especially with a big following, that isn't saying that, you should not trust. Because if you're someone that is awake enough to know about Nephilim and fallen angels and flat Earth, but you can't figure out that the Charlie Kirk thing was a false flag, fake death, then seriously, guys, you should unfollow those people because they're lying to you. And that's exactly how I knew JT, followed JC. I suspected him for a while, but I mean, like, that was the final red flag. And there's a few others that I don't want to mention. I'm thinking of one in particular who I've been buddies with, and he hasn't talked to me in 2 months because he's still posting Candace Owens stuff, and he's still talking about Charlie Kirk's death, and he knows darn well that I know that's fake, and he's still posting on it. So I'm not going to name any names, but he's got a real big following on Facebook and Instagram, and that's all I'll say. All right, I have rambled on and on and on. Let's check out the comments. Yeah, I mean, the Charlie Kirk Snake Eyes, if anyone sees that movie was made where the guy's name is literally Charles, I think it's Charles Kirk or Charles Kirkland or something, and I mean, it's so obviously a false flag, and people that are in the truther world and aren't showing that and aren't saying that, I wouldn't trust them. Just dead serious. Because I never lie. I don't lie in my life. I don't lie online. I might not always be right, but I have a conscience my whole life that eats me alive if I lie. And like, I'm as honest as they come. I'm an open book about everything because I don't lie. I have nothing to hide. So like, I'm telling you, if people aren't as open and honest and don't see what I'm saying, it's one thing if you're like a new truther and you don't see it. But if you're someone like with 1 million followers or hundreds of thousands of followers and you've been awake for years, you got to question those people. All right, honestly, guys, if you haven't seen my Charlie Kirk videos from September, go watch, especially the Candace Owens ones. Candace Owens isn't even Candace Owens. She's Lisa Left Eye Lopez. There was an original Candace Owens. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know. She's probably playing a different role of some kind. I don't know. But Lisa Left Eye Lopez is now Candace Owens. And Halle Berry played the part at one point too. I respect your research, but it could also be people in the past who found a way to stay. Oh yeah, I don't discount that. I don't, like I said, I have theories. I think there could be, it's like they tell us in the movies, right? So the closest thing I think, like the truest thing I think with these people is that there's a mix. I think there are truly spiritual fallen angels here. I really do. But I think like they show in vampire movies, because they tell us through the movies, you can become a vampire if you drink the vampire's blood. So I think there's something called golden blood. It's RH, not RH negative, it's RH null. And it is supposedly very rare. It's like 50 people in the world have it. Well, I think only 50 they tell us about. And I think maybe if you drink the fallen angel or vampire blood, maybe you get some extra long life. So yeah, I do think there is a level of normal humans taking blood oaths, probably agreeing to sell their soul. Because that's the thing, like, if you're a normal person and you get involved, you don't get out. Like anyone who thinks people are being like put in safe houses and they don't get out. Because when you literally sign an oath saying that if you go against the oath, you will have your throat slit and your tongue pulled out. No one's going against that oath. If you, like, no one's, oh, sorry, I quit. No, because you'll get your throat ripped out. But yeah, I agree with you. There's a chance that there's just normal humans that have been around hundreds of years because they have been drinking the Abrenobrome. But there's a spiritual component to it as well, is all I'm saying. I got a contribution down here. Al Bashard, just curious about The Rock and his new look. So it's funny you asked that because I've just been researching The Rock, but not the new Rock, the old Rock, because I don't know if it was, no, it was probably a Facebook subscriber, or maybe it was a live, but someone told me to check out like the bad guy in Pee Wee Herman's, which movie was it of his? One of Pee Wee Herman's, like The Big Top, or one of his movies. There's a guy, and I can't think of his name, but like if you just look up the cast of Pee Wee Herman's movies, there's a guy that is 100% The Rock. Like they have the whole Rock story as he was Rocky Montevilla, his dad was a wrestler. It's all nonsense. Like all their stories they tell you of where they came from and coming through this, it's all bull crap. And guys, they've had AI for centuries. They're just giving it to us. So like people will say, well, this person was young in this movie. How are they this one? Because I truly think, like, have you seen AI lately? I watched a chiropractic video the other day where this guy is standing on someone. He jumps up in the air, comes down, lands on him, and the table breaks. And it looks like the realest thing I've ever seen, to the point where it fooled me for 10 seconds. I was like, no way that guy isn't dead with his neck broken. And I'm like, oh, it's AI. And then I scrolled and like the whole thing, it was all AI. Like AI is undetectable and they've had it for centuries. So, like the most recent example that I started studying is the show Stranger Things. I truly think in the first full couple seasons that 11, Millie Bobby Brown was AI. Because I started thinking about it and started watching with like an inquisitive eye, with discerning eye. And man, like the camera angles they would do with her, and then she had like a softer, more glowing face. They've had AI for it's not artificial intelligence, it's angelic intelligence. They've had it probably since the angels traded technology for human women. It's been around forever. Yeah, I think Hollywood is very inverted. Part of it is I don't know if I think angels are androgynous. So it's like if some of them are fallen angels, that's why they're inverted. They probably can, self-impregnate as well. Kulik said, do you think AI bots will take over the jobs? And if so, when? I think that's already going on, right? I think that's going on a lot. I don't think it will happen 100%, but I think, yeah, absolutely. I think it's in the process, my friend. I really do. How often do I think the 200 meet in the pyramid in Astana? It's a great question. And I go back and forth. So I think there were two different events of angels coming here. And there's probably been dozens, but the Bible and Book of Enoch. There's the 200 watchers, and then there's also, a third that Lucifer took down with him. So lately I've been discovering all the 200, not lately. I knew about the 200 craters for a couple of years now, and the 200 seats in the pyramid for a couple of years now, but I kind of think the 200 is different than the third, and I think the third could be a lot. And I think there may be a lot more angels down here than we realize. And maybe they give, maybe even there's like warring factions of the 200 versus the third, I don't know. But I go back and forth with that. I'm like, is Hollywood and all these people, are they the fallen angel minions? Or are they the fallen angels themselves? And I don't know, if you watched my Tom Brady video from yesterday, it's hard for me to even not think that he is truly a fallen angel. I mean, just with the angel symbolism, the star symbolism, the walk of fame, the him being Larry Hagman. There's him doing all the signs and symbols. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to not think that there are fallen angels among us. Hey, Crystal, thank you for the contribution. I'm reading your message right now. I sent you 2 videos of Brittany Murphy someone posted, and I see and hear is Ariana Grande now. I think they're also using her to the youth. Can go back to being sick and obsessed with being 90s. So I 1,000% agree, kind of. I proved that Brittany Murphy was Ariana Grande, for sure. I've done a video, got all the markings. I proved that one. However, I think Ariana Grande is now someone different. I think someone, and I wish I could remember names better, but someone in my Facebook group posted, and it was hard to deny that Ariana Grande wasn't this person and that Brittany Murphy wasn't this person. So, yes, when they first transitioned, when Brittany Murphy faked her death, she became Ariana Grande, 100%. But I think they've moved on from, I think Brittany Murphy has moved on from Ariana Grande as someone new, and someone new has taken over the Ariana Grande role. If that makes sense. I know it can get confusing, guys, because it's wild what they do. And I think part of the reason they can do it is because they don't sleep. I don't think they need sleep. They tell us vampires don't sleep. They tell, like Kobe Bryant, they're always like, he didn't sleep. I was watching a Michael Jordan video, like The Last Dance. And what's his name? I lost track of his name. Indiana Pacers, Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller's literally like, that guy's a vampire. He doesn't sleep. He's a vampire. I'm like, they just tell us. They know Dante Stallworth called Tom Brady a vampire. Like, they know and they tell us. Yeah, without discernment, it's confusing. Yeah, so vampires are real in a sense. I call them vampires. They're not like Transylvania vampires, but I think there's blood involved. I think Abrenobrome is involved, which is, blood with adrenaline, kids' blood with adrenaline in it. Yeah, so they're real, but I think at the heart of it, it's all fallen angel stuff. I just call them vampires because of the blood aspect. And guys, that's what all the blood boxes and blood donations are. Do you know how much blood they collect? There's no way that much blood is being used in the United States, like on a daily basis. Like as a teacher, we used to have a blood drive twice a semester, and hundreds of kids would line up to donate their blood. And that's just one school. Like, I'm sorry, but there aren't millions of people needing blood on a daily basis, like just nonstop transfusion. No, I truly think blood banks, they're holding blood for the vampires, for the fallen angels. If I looked into Orlando Brown, he's been talking crazy about this person. Is that person another person? No, I don't know who he is. I don't know if is he a content guy or is he like a Hollywood person? I don't know. They like to muddy the waters, guys. There's so much stuff put out there. I think a lot of it is to like discredit what I do, to be honest. Hey, Jim and Jenny, thank you. I appreciate the kindness, my friend. Do a video on the top 200 fallen angels, like the top 200 music videos. Parasites cause cancer. Look into it, guys. The lies go deep. Yeah, 100%. And thank you for the contribution, my friend. When I heard the other day that made so much sense, but I hadn't ever really put my mind to it, is that, like if you have cancer and you get a biopsy, that cancer is contained. It's like self-contained in like a gelatinous, whatever you want to call it, container. But if you do a biopsy, you're ripping that container open, and then it's able to spread. So biopsies are like, and I'm not trying to scare people, but like a sure on way to, if you have cancer, to allow it to spread. And then, while we're on the health kick, if you guys haven't, I haven't done a video on it, but if you haven't, look into wisdom teeth being pulled, being a total scam and psyop. It disconnects, like your whole mouth. You have nerve endings that go up. The wisdom teeth go specifically nerve endings to your pineal gland. So there's obviously your pineal gland is like your spiritual antenna. So don't get your wisdom teeth pulled. Don't let your kids get their wisdom teeth pulled. Yes, they will come in sideways, but they will straighten out. I've done some videos on Gary Busey. Gary Busey watched one of my videos on the Howie Mandel podcast. I did a video on how Tom Brady was playing Gary Busey. Now, I thought he was wearing a mask. Now I'm starting to wonder if Tom Brady can shapeshift into Gary Busey. And I know that sounds ridiculous, Tom Brady and Gary Busey, but if you watch the video, it's hard to deny. And then they showed Gary Busey, my video, on the podcast. And the funny thing is, if you guys haven't seen the video, he watches it and he's like a little thrown off, and then he starts like Fleming and hawking, and he starts asking for like a white tissue, and he keeps saying tissue, and I like gematria tissue, and it basically, one of the first words that came up was like correct identity. And then, when you're waving a white flag, it's like you give up. So it was like he literally was like signaling, yeah, like you got it right. I'm Tom Brady under here. Yeah, and that's the thing with the shape shifting. I don't know if it's tech, or I don't know if they're like chameleons. Like I don't know. If they've been around thousands of years, they could easily have tech to disguise themselves. But part of me, I really think it's probably like an ability. But like you said, probably both. Crack the code on Burt Reynolds being Magnum PI. Yeah, I've seen. I don't know if it was you that has said that. I've seen that before, Wayne. I'm not sure if it was you or someone else, but I'll look into it. I haven't been open to that, but I'll look into it. So someone says Jim Carrey is John Cena. I don't think so. Maybe he's played the role. So I want to talk about this for a second. Younger, I was a wrestling fan, like maybe in college, like I liked Goldberg in college just because he was like a football guy and had adrenaline and stuff. But I haven't been into wrestling for 20 years probably. But I was watching the other day, like not like on TV or anything, but like a clip online, and I was watching Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior body slam Andre the Giant like it was nothing. Like, and guys, like past 30, and I'm saying 30 because it's actually 30, not because I'm throwing any numbers out there, but the past 30 years of my life has been like dedicated to strength and conditioning, personal training, like myself, my fitness. I've done everything from CrossFit to, football conditioning to powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, bodybuilding competitions. So on a personal level, and then I also coached it at a very elite level for 20 years, like coached national championship Olympic weightlifters. I know what human strength is capable of, even with steroids, not personal and not my athletes, but I've seen it. What those guys could do to Andre the Giant, I don't care how big and strong Hulk Hogan is, that wasn't human. You can't just like lift that guy, and like what they do and what I've seen John Cena, like that's angelic strength. And what I'm getting at is, yes, I do think probably Jim Carrey did play John. I don't think Jim Carrey is always John Cena, but he probably shapeshifted or put on a bodysuit. But this is what I truly think. I think, and this was again in my Facebook area, because the people in there, Paula knows, if you're still in here, they're just on fire in there, revelation after revelation. But Ernest, like Jim Varney, Ernest goes to camp. that dude is John Cena for sure. Like, I found the facial markings. Someone even posted, like, why is John Cena looking, the older he gets, like earnest? That dude is John Cena for sure. Trust me, my friend, I understand what you're saying with the whole jumping thing, but it wasn't even the Hulk Hogan. It wasn't Hulk Hogan as much as when I watched Ultimate Warrior body slam him. When I watched Warrior body slam Andre the Giant, who is easily 600 pounds. Like, to be able to, like, and he doesn't just, like, trust me, it's not human strength. It's not. I know human strength. It's not human strength. Hey, one big pond. Good day yourself. I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite things to say. It's all of them, all of them. No, no. Mel Gibson's not good. No, Jim Caviezel's not good. No, Mark Wahlberg's not good. No, Jelly Roll's not good. No, big Christian singers aren't good. It's all of them. You don't get on the world stage. No, Charlie Kirk's not good. No, Candace Owens isn't good. You don't get on the world stage unless you're part of their club. AW, thank you. I appreciate it, my friend. I do have thoughts on Johnny Cash. I did a video on Johnny Cash. You got to look at my video. Johnny Cash became Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys. I had a sneaking suspicion on it, and then I watched the Dallas Cowboys documentary, and within the first 4 minutes of the thing, and the documentary is called, like, the Cowboy, or what is it? I can't remember, but it's something like the Gambler and his Cowboys or something like that, and it's like within the first 4 minutes they're playing a Johnny Cash song, and then June Carter, who was Johnny Cash's wife, looks identical to Jerry Jones's wife, all the facial markings. So yeah, Johnny Cash. And I'll say this because if you look up, like, the death dates and things like that, Johnny Cash, original Johnny Cash, became Jerry Jones. But, like, they replaced him. And you will see, if you watch the video, I show what original Johnny Cash looks like compared to, like, different Johnny Cash. Their noses are completely different. And that's the thing, guys, is they will just start calling someone, like, what's a good example? Like Paul McCartney. They just started calling this other guy Paul McCartney, and they're like, as long as you just program it and repeat it over and over again, it's like Kanye West. They were calling Kanye West, this other dude, Kanye West, and it's like, well, he's a clone. No, it's just a different person, and they're calling him Kanye West. And as long as they say it enough, people believe it, because people, not you guys, but people believe the TV, and they believe what's on the TV. No, I don't think Burt Reynolds is Pedro Pascal. I think Orlando Bloom is Pedro Pascal. I did a video on that. I'm pretty sure on that one. But again, guys, like, I'm open to things because they play multiple roles. Like yes, Jim Carrey played Joe Biden, but I think not all the time. Benicio del Toro, yes, Brad Pitt played him, but not all the time. I think Leonardo DiCaprio has played that role as well. Doxological Thinker, hey, good to see you on here, my friend. Do you know where to get a legit fluoride test for water? Bought the electrolyzer you mentioned a few. Yeah, honestly, like, I hate to say anything about buying on Amazon, but they've got legit fluoride testers. They're usually just strips, or like, or you can sprinkle stuff in and it will turn it yellow. And that's the thing with, that's the one thing I don't like about the electrolyzer is when you read it, it says yellow is okay. It says, like, yellow is naturally occurring minerals, but that's also, if you get a fluoride detector, it also turns yellow. So it's like, it's kind of confusing. But yeah, honestly, just for ease, and I hate Amazon and they sell crappy stuff and poison stuff too, but I do think their fluoride detectors are legit. My friend, I don't know if there's ever going to be a time when everyone realizes. I mean, think about this. I am who I am. You guys clearly have seen I've posted a lot of videos, and I think 95% of my videos are hard to deny because I don't post stuff unless I have good evidence. And the amount of people in my real life that have woken up, I mean, I would say I'm shooting at like 10, no, like at like 2%. Like the amount of people I know in my real life that have like listened to me or heard what I've said and like had any kind of awakening or realization that they've been lied to their whole life is like 2%. And if I can't do it, man, we're in trouble. Like if I can't wake people up around me, that's the thing. Like you can't wake people up. They gotta want to know. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't want to know until, I mean, unless there's another COVID-like event, because I think that woke a lot of people up. It didn't wake me up. But I don't know. I have a hard time seeing, as long as the TV's on, people will listen to the TV over anything else. I saw a Kirk Cameron thing in here. I just wanted to scroll back to that because Nicolas Cage is Marilyn Manson. I think a few people have played Marilyn Manson. I've seen the Nicolas Cage comparisons. So yeah, Kirk Cameron came up in my Facebook subscriber area because I said it's all of them. And someone said, "What about Kirk Cameron?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And they got mad at me. He's a good Christian guy. He's doing this and that. I'm like, it took me all of 45 seconds to go to his TV show he was making, find him doing immediate symbolism, immediate black and white things, immediate like the fingers that I won't even do because I don't like to do them because I don't want anyone to ever have the wrong idea about me. And then like found it all over the place. And then other people like Kirk Cameron's is dirty. He's maybe the dirtiest of all of them because he has so many people fooled. And that's like, those are the ones that bother me the most. The ones that people truly think are good people and they're just as dirty as, they're just better at hiding it. Dante Bosco, Rufio, and Bruce Lee. One, thank you, The Narrow Path. I appreciate the kind contribution. I did a video on Bruce Lee being Gene Ho. I think if you see it, it'll be hard. It's pretty convincing. And that's the thing, guys. Like, I don't do these videos unless I can really convince myself. And what I'm trying to do is like, can I prove to myself it's not these people? Because I'll get these downloads, these thoughts, these ideas, and I'm like, it's like, what would the odds be for me to have these thoughts of these two people being the same people, and then for them to have like the exact same 7 markings? Like the chance of two people, and I've showed this lately, two people looking similar and having the exact same 5 or 6 identical markings is 1 in a trillion. But then you need to add in the odds of me thinking those two people could be the same. Like if you just put 2 random people that look together, yeah, like the odds are 1 in a trillion, but you have to also add the odds in of like, Tyler picked these 2 random people. That adds a lot. That's not 1 in trillions. That's like 1 in quadrillions. So I totally lost where I was going with that. I don't even know what I was talking about there. Oh, so sorry, got it back. So yeah, Bruce Lee. Anyway, I think if you watch the Bruce Lee as Gene Ho video, you will think so. Gene Ho, for people that don't know, he was Donald Trump's like press photographer, and which is kind of random, but like he's also like very close with Donald Trump, and was talking about he wanted them to create a law that if you faked your death in Hollywood, you could come back without penalty. So what I think is more interesting isn't Gene Ho being Bruce Lee, is Brandon Lee being, and I always forget this guy's name, Chris Klein. Brandon Lee is Chris Klein, Ostriker from American Pie, like the lacrosse player Ostriker. And that's wild because, like, to look at them, they look like different, like, races or nationalities. Like, Brandon Lee has white and Asian in him, and Chris Klein just looks straight up like a white dude. But they're the same, for sure. Yeah, Joel Osteen, I think he might be Martin Shore, maybe Tim Allen. There's so many. I got to go in like 5 minutes, guys. So I just wanted to give people a heads up. Can I speak on Kim Kardashian? Well, I used to just think she was a witch, like a genuine witch, but she is definitely a vampire. Like all these people on TV, it is so rare that any of them are organic. They're all recycled, soul sold to the devil, either like people at one point who sold their soul to live endlessly, or, maybe the women in the club are all the women that mated with the fallen angels. I don't know. I don't like to speculate, and it might seem to people that I speculate a lot, but to me, I'm not speculating on a lot of things. I'm providing evidence with them. KJ, thank you for the contribution. I don't know what you're laughing at, but I will thank you for the kindness anyway. Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, all part of the club, for sure. Shooting stars. I'll get to that, and what is our purpose here? So it's funny you asked about shooting stars. So in Florida, I've seen like 2. I've been here a year and a half, and I saw one about a year ago. And then last week, I went out, and it was a clear night. Hadn't seen one, and I look at the sky every night, and it's always clear. Not always, but like 95% of the time. And I went out, and I was speaking directly to our Father and asked him to show me a sign. I don't want to say what I was asking for, but I just wanted to see a sign if I was right about something. And I was like, please, I was just asking. And I saw a shooting star for the first time in a year, 2 seconds later. I definitely think they're spiritual in nature. I think they do fake ones. I think they fake comets and asteroids with either holograms, or even sometimes they drop like spring coils that will burn up through, like going through the air. But I don't know. I do think, like the Bible talks about them being angels or demons coming through the firmament, but they don't always have to be the bad kind of angels coming through the firmament. So, I don't know. I think there's angelic stuff all around us. We can only see so much of what's actually going on here. And what's our purpose here? That's a great question. From the time I can remember, I felt like there was something I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't doing, like really important, and never knew what it was. And just always, I was like, what is this feeling inside of me that I'm not doing, that it was like a mission that I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't doing. And I haven't felt that in 2.5 years, because I think I'm living that mission. I think for whatever reason, I was given the gift of sight and discernment and ability to connect the dots. And I think it was for what I'm doing. And, I think we all have our each individual assignments and missions and gifts. And honestly, I think part of why we're here is I said in my video the other day, to see if through all this evil that is here right now, can you still choose good? Can you still choose God? And might be as simple as that. Maybe it's literally a test from God. Maybe we even chose to come here to, there's a big part of me that thinks we also just choose to come here for like a little soul experience. but I'm also a big believer in scriptures in the Bible, more so old Bibles than like new Bibles, because I think there has been a lot of manipulation. But honestly, if I had to say it was one thing, it was, can you be in a fallen world and still choose good in God? So that's what I think. I could be dead wrong, but it makes me a little misty eyed thinking about, so kind of resonates, huh? All right, guys, I want to take one more question and then I got to go because I got a date with the wife. Let's see. My eyes are bad right now because I stare at this phone way too much. Oh, and if you don't, get a blue light blocking screen cover. My eyes still hurt even though I have this cover on, and when I didn't have this cover on, my eyes were hurting all the time. And my wife and I always joke because I started sun gazing around the same time I also started creating content. And my wife's like, your eyes are hurting because you're sun gazing. I'm like, no, if anything, my eyes are being saved because I'm sun gazing. So my eyes never hurt anymore, and I still sun gaze every day, but I got a blue light blocking lens. So she was wrong, I was right. All right, one last thing here. Let me see if no. Oh, Dave Coulier and Jeff Daniels. Okay. I was thinking you meant the other guy from Full House. Let's see. I'm looking. I wanted one. Just wanted one last one. How about this? Anyone want to ask me a personal question? It's all just content, conspiracy. How about a personal question? Passion Print's awesome. I love it. Yep, I think kind of choosing love is kind of choosing God too. I agree. Anything else? Have I seen any signs from my dog after I passed away? Yeah, or after he passed away. You gotta look at my video I did on that if you haven't seen that. That's a funny question to ask if you haven't seen that video. And I'll end on this. It's a good way to end. Yeah, hey, from Chicago, awesome. So yeah, when I was waking up, I literally think I woke up because I was like looking for a distraction and looking for was there more purpose in this life as my dog was dying. And then, yeah, fast forward after he passed like a year, and I had been fasting for 50 hours and was just outside looking up at the heavens and like asked, just like, and this was 50 hours into a fast, asked God for a sign to let me know if, my dog was with him in heaven or, just looking for a sign. And I don't remember if it was later that day or the next day, but I was down at the Gulf of Mexico and I saw amazing crepuscular rays that prove the sun is local. So I zoomed in on them, and like right as I zoom in, there is like a perfect image in the clouds of my dog. And I'm not saying like one of those clouds that kind of looks like it's not a dog, it's my dog. And I did a video on it. You should look up. I'm trying to think of how I started. It's a lot of people tell me it's like their favorite video that I've done because it's just like it's pretty. That and my Heaven is Real video are maybe my two favorites. But anyway, I gotta go, guys. I've been on an hour. I appreciate. Yeah, well, it was all, yeah, the dogs were all tied in. Like I saw dogs in the, God showed me dogs in the stars as my dog was dying. It was all, people were like, you're seeing dogs in the stars because your dog's dying. I'm like, no, I think God is showing me dogs in the stars because my dog is dying. Look up my Dogs in Stars video and Dogs in Clouds. If you look those up, they should pop up. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate all the support, all the kind words, all the contributions. I think, did I miss one here? Oh, I did. I had a few contributions. Let me look at these real fast. Tyler, study the lore of Warhammer 40,000. I know it's a nerdy game, but is truth in plain sight? I'll screenshot that and check it out. Thank you for the kindness to all business. And then I think I had one more on here that I did not check. Come on. Nope. I think that's it. All right, guys, if you gave a little contribution and I didn't see it, I apologize, but there's nothing else on my screen. So I think I got them all. All right, guys, much love. Have an awesome weekend. And I'll do this again for sure sometime next week. I'll try to put a little bit more notification out there than like the half hour that I did. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Love you. Take care.